Hi there, Wally here. In today's video, let's talk about satellite 6.16. Yeah, that's right. This is the latest version at the time that I'm recording this video. And the great news is 6.16 has a lot of new features. And one that is very important is you can deploy the satellite 6.16 on top of RHEL 9. Yeah, that's right. So today, let's do this. Let's deploy satellite 6.16 on top of the latest version of RHEL 9. At the moment that I'm recording this video is 9.5, and then we'll do the basic installation plus the basic to put your satellite up and running. All right. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel, this is the right time. So just hit the bell, allow the notification, and once I release a new video, you get notified. So let's move it on. Feel free to pick your preferred beverage, have a seat, and let's enjoy the video. This is the browser, docs.rhel.com. From here, you can click on Explore All Products. Let's scroll down, or you can type Ctrl F or Command F, Red Hat Satellite. This is a documentation of Red Hat Satellite 6.16. The documentation that we'll be following today is this one. Install a satellite server in a connected network environment. So let me open this up in a new tab. I like to do this one. Just pick single page. This will allow you to see the whole information in a single page. And yes, I would recommend you to take a look on all this documentation. There are a bunch of information here, a bunch of valid information. For instance, what is the supported version of your BaseOS, minimum of CPU, minimum of memory, storage, all the components, storage used, like the minimum recommended for this installation. Like once this is for the video's sake, I have my machine base configuration, 20 gigs of RAM, 4 vCPUs. The storage is just the basic to deploy the satellite and sync some repositories. I don't have too much, but just to keep in mind, if you are deploying satellite, feel free to take a look on this documentation. All right. I'm gonna go straight to one information, one specific point, which is related to firewall. This one. So Wally, should I disable my firewall or just add those rules? In general, in my environment, once I'm deploying new satellite for tests, in general, I disable my firewall. Okay, so I don't follow those steps because I don't need firewall. I just would like to deploy my satellite and do some troubleshooting, test some stuff. But once this is a video for the best practice, definitely you should keep your firewall up and running. Okay, so basically you can follow those steps, enabling the port 8990 and then also some additional services. But Wally, I can see the HTTP, TFTP. I'm not gonna use them. Should I add them? If you want, you can remove it, but just adding the service doesn't mean that the service will be enabled on satellite. This is just a firewall configuration. So my personal advice, feel free to copy and paste, and that's it. So behind, let me show you. I have this machine. This machine is wallsite616.king.lab. As I mentioned before, we have 4 vCPUs and we have 20 gigs of RAM. At the bottom, I'm gonna keep my top up and running because, you know, we like to see what's going on under the hood. So we can see all the processes that will be running here. And on the one on the top, we will just follow the steps. So the first one will be adding the firewall configuration or the firewall rules. Let's add the port 8090. After that, let's add those services. We can resize this a little bit. Let me clean up the screen. We can keep this one permanent. And what is that? If I do not run this one, what will happen is whenever I restart my machine, I will lose those rules. And here I can do a double check. Firewall-cmd-list-all. And then we can see that all the ports 8990, some services, they are now enabled and available on this satellite. Which means, when you deploy a satellite server and you try to access and you have no access, that's it. It is the lack of those rules that is not allowing you to access the server once you have everything up and running. Okay? Cool. Let's move it on. Verify DNS resolution. DNS is very important to your satellite implementation. Eventually, you can just add like the entry on your /etc/hosts. However, I truly recommend you to do a double check and be sure that your name resolution is working fine. Okay? We have here some information about tuning. Yeah, because the tuning you can set, like if you have a huge amount of memory or CPUs, you can check what tuning profile would match better or would fit with that specific configuration. And you can set such configuration. Again, this is a very basic machine. We will not spend any additional time on that. And for sure, the base configuration will allow you to do amazing things. All right. Here you can see like the number of servers or the number of content hosts that you can register with the default configuration. Like, Wally, you are saying that I can manage like 5,000 content hosts on this satellite with 20 gigs of RAM and 4 vCPUs. Yes, that's right. Exactly this one. If you like to have like between 5,000 and 10,000, then 32 gigs and 8 vCPUs. All right. And you can check all the options that we do have over here. So let's move it on. Then we got chapter 3, installing satellite server. Some configuration about firewall ports that should be open. Like in my environment, everything is open. I have no restriction. So let's take a look if our machine is registered, identity, and it is not. So this is the time that I can copy and paste from here, subscription manager register, or I can just type. So let's copy. I'm lazy. So copy and paste. And then you can type your credential, the Red Hat credentials, the same that you use to authenticate on your access.rhel.com. And this will register your machine against the customer portal. Great, we are back. If we take a look on our identity, now we can see that this machine is properly registered against the customer portal. Configuring repositories. So yes, let me show you this etc Red Hat release. This is Red Hat 9.2. And then you ask, well, you mentioned that the latest version is Red Hat 9.5. Yes, that's right. So I kept this on purpose because we can see if the installation or the documentation is telling us to update this machine. All right. So let's disable all the repositories. This is the one that will disable everything. Once we have everything disabled, let's take a look on this. This is gonna enable the repositories RHEL 9, the BaseOS, AppStream, the Satellite 6.16, and Satellite Maintenance 6.16. And then we can see that all of them got enabled on this system. And if you like to verify, you can just run dnf repositories enable. And this is going to show the repositories that are enabled in this system. If you like to see with some additional verbosity, you can definitely pass -v, and -v is going to show some additional information, which is good, specifically when you are doing some sort of troubleshooting. There we go. Now we can see AppStream, number of packets, available packets, the size, the base URL. We can see that this is coming from CDN. This is amazing. This is working as expected. All right, this is for RHEL 8. Well, should I follow the steps about RHEL 8? Nope. Once you're doing this on RHEL 9, you can definitely skip those steps, okay? All right, this is one optional step using Fapolicyd. I can tell you for sure, on version 9.3 and 9.4, this was a problem. So this was not a problem with Satellite, but a problem with RHEL, specifically that package on RHEL 9.3, if I'm not wrong. But this is already fixed. So fear not, you can definitely follow the steps here, enable the Fapolicyd and move it on, because this will be pure success. All right, so let's install Fapolicyd. You can see the package. Yes, let's install. If we come back, like this is in case of an existing installation. Let's suppose that I have already my satellite up and running. Then I can just install this package. This is not the case. We are just installing the package at this moment. We have a question here. Hey, would like to accept this one, the key? Yes. And yes. And after that, we are gonna enable the service. Let me show you this. See, we already start the video with a bonus. Systemctl status Fapolicyd. You can see that this service is disabled and not running, okay? In general, we see people doing this. Systemctl enable Fapolicyd. This is gonna enable the service. This is gonna change this guy, but will not start the service. We will still inactive. And after that, they run systemctl start Fapolicyd. And then now this is gonna start the service. Well, can I do this in a single shot, like killing two birds with a single stone? Yes, definitely you can. This is this guy. So let me run enable dash dash now. Basically what this is telling is, hey, systemctl enable this service and start this now. All right. So if we take a look on systemctl status Fapolicyd, we can see that this is enabled and also running right now. Cool, huh? All right, let's move it on. Now we have this up and running. This is good. We can see the status here. And then let's install some packets. See, DNF upgrade. So basically DNF upgrade is gonna bump our machine to the latest available version. As I mentioned before, this machine was on version 9.2, and this is not a big deal because this process is gonna bump this machine to 9.5. Two attention points. One is we can see this is going to bump to 9.5, all right? Another point is this is installing a kernel, a new kernel. So keep in mind that once you update all the packets, don't forget to restart this machine. And then we'll boot up using the new version of the kernel or the new kernel, and then we can move it on from there, all right? So let me accept, and we'll be back once this is done. Let's move it on. Let's take a look in the next step. So basically this is gonna install the satellite package. So DNF install satellite. We can pass -y if you like to install automatically with no additional question. But let me take a look on the package or package list, and then we can move it on. So let's scroll up. From here we can see the package is satellite and the version is 6.16. This is coming from 6.16 repository for RHEL 9, which is amazing. All right, let's type Y, press enter, and we'll be back in a few. We can see that we got all the packets properly installed. Now let's move it on. After DNF installs satellite, we'll have the configuration, we'll have some additional information. This is very important, and let me tell you why. If you just copy and paste this one, by default, some information will be here, like my organization, my location. And eventually I see some people around the globe saying, hey, I just run with this information, then now I can see my organization, my location. I would like to rename it, or I would like to change it somehow. Is that possible? It is, but internally we have some keys that will be created with the information that you are passing during the installation, okay? What is the simple way to do this? So let's copy this information. Let me get my text editor. Let me put here. And we're gonna reorganize this a little bit. Then once you have this in your text editor, you can change everything. So for example, my organization, will be Acme. This is the name of my company, Acme, and then I'm gonna change this one. My location, New West. Hey Wally, I can see a space. Can I use a space here, or can I use space on my organization name as well? Definitely you can. Don't forget the double quotes. For the sake of my organization, I'm gonna keep like a single word, but for the location, I'm gonna keep like the space, okay? Admin. So definitely I can remove this one and keep my admin as the default user. And my password, I will set password. And now I know that you go to the comments and then you say, don't use that password, this is unsafe, this is not safe at all. I agree. This is a safe environment. This is my lab machine, so no big deal. But for your implementation, definitely feel free to pick one password that is stronger than this one and that will keep your satellite up and running safely. All right. Okay, one attention point here. If I just copy this one and paste, this is gonna work. This is gonna proceed with the installation. Satellite installer dash dash scenario satellite. This is the only requirement. All the rest is optional. But again, if you omit all of them, the default organization will be used, like default organization, it is the name. For location, default location, it is the name. For admin user, will be admin. And a password will be generated on the fly. Will be a random password that will be presented in the end. So again, if you like to keep everything under control, feel free to copy this portion, paste in your text editor, feel free to change. After that, you can copy, come back to your terminal, paste, and that's it. Just press enter. This is gonna proceed with the installation. We use some information that you're passing here along with the installer, and then we'll set up your satellite. So once this is finished, you should be able to see like the information, hey, your satellite is installed successfully, up and running on this URL, and you're good to go. So let's wait for this to finish, and I'll be back with you in a few. And you're back, guys. So let's check this out. We can see here the success. If we scroll up a little bit, we can see the flags that we passed and the success. So basically satellite is up and running. This is the path for this satellite. Let me copy and paste over here. I will come back to this screen. Let me just close this up. We can see the username is admin. The password was not a random password, was the password that we share via flag, which is good. Now we know the password. We have some additional information, like if you like to install Capsule, there are some additional information here, additional commands that you can copy and paste. But again, this is a very basic installation of Satellite 6.16. We have also Foreman proxy on this path. So this is good. And all the logs, everything will be logged in this file, okay? Again, this was pretty smooth, pretty simple. Let's move it on. Once we open the webUI and try to access the satellite webUI, we can see this question about the certificate, because this is a self-signed certificate. So satellite has its own CA server, and satellite itself is signing this certificate. Because of that, my browser has no idea about that CA and is asking, hey, do you trust this guy? Yes, I do. I know this one. I will accept. And then from here, we can see 6.1601. This is the latest version at the time of this video. The user is admin. The password is password, as we pass as a flag. I can save this one. That's okay. I know. Satellite 16 is estimated to reach the end of life by the end of May 2025. It is far, far away. We know that. This is a bug, a known bug, and we are going to fix this in the next release, okay? This is already addressed. So fear not, this is not a big problem. This will not cause any problem to you, all right? Pretty good. Our satellite is up and running. Let me show one more thing here via CLI. Form maintain service. status-b. And from here, we can see if everything is up and running. The services related to satellite, we can see they are all up and running. Another one is hammer ping. So let's take a look on hammer ping. This is another one that should be up and running. Let me stop this one at the bottom. Then we can see OK to all of them. And this is good. All right, our server is up and running. And then I mentioned like I would like to do this video to deploy satellite 6.16 on top of RHEL 9 and proceed with some basic steps, like in order to put your satellite up and running, okay, in a production way. So let's pass through all those steps because those are the basic and minimal steps to achieve this goal. So install the BaseOS, check it because the BaseOS was already installed. Install satellite, we did this together. Execute the installer with flags. So as I mentioned before, we copied those entries, we change all the flags that we need, organization, location, user, password, and that's it. Now we have some additional steps. Import manifest, add a subscription, enable the repo, create a SyncPlan, create a LifeCycle environment, create a content view, composite content view, activation key, create a global registration, and finally register a content host. So I have another video in this channel following the similar steps with a satellite 6.14. The process is not too much different or basically the same, but I'm gonna do this like in a fast pace. I will not explain all these steps just to keep this video shorter and show you this satellite up and running and able to register some content hosts. All right. So import the manifest. I'm not gonna get my manifest from my account at Red Hat. Instead, I'm gonna use one manifest that I do have already in my local file system. So basically, I need to go to content, subscriptions. There are no subscriptions to display, so the first step is to import a manifest. We are here. So let's import a manifest. You can see this button, browse. So once you click on browse, this is gonna open your file manager and you have to find the file that you have, the manifest that was created on hybrid cloud. Once you select the manifest, you see something like this, importing the manifest. However, this manifest is empty. There is no subscription. Once you go to your hybrid cloud and create the manifest, there is no way to add a subscription inside of that manifest. So what you have to do is just click on add subscription. And from here, I can see the subscriptions that I do have in my account, available in my account. All right. So let me do one thing here. I know one subscription that I'm gonna use, which is employee. And let me add 5. Again, I will just go to this text box. I will set the number of subscriptions that I would like to add and then hit submit. Then there you go. At this moment, we have our subscription available in the satellite through the manifest. Once this is done. So let's just check. We imported the manifest. Okay. Added a subscription. The steps that we did. Click on the button, find the subscription, assign to your manifest, and hit submit. That will do something like this. At this moment, satellite is just connecting to the backend, collecting all the information that is necessary to populate some information, the backend in the database. And after that, this will allow your satellite to connect to the CDN and customer portal and see some repositories based on the subscription that you added on this manifest. Basically, this is what is happening. There we go. We have success, and then we can see the subscriptions on satellite. All right. Let's go to the next step. For the sake of this video, I'm going to work with a client which is RHEL 8. So I would like to enable and sync some RHEL 8 repositories. So I can click on Content, Red Hat Repositories. From here, I can click on the toggle and I can see Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. So this is EOS. This is not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for this one, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This is the app string. Then you can see that I have multiple versions, minor versions. The version that I want is this one. This is the latest version. So we have the app string. Let's click on the plus sign. And BaseOS. Again, this is EOS. Be cautious and attention on this small detail. Sometimes I get people around the globe saying, hey, my repository is not available or it is not working properly. And that's it. Like just a small detail. This is EOS. You are expecting to get something like this, the BaseOS for RHEL 8. And then you enable this one instead of this one. So yeah. Again, this is all the versions. We can see all the minor versions over here. Let's click on RHEL 8, the BaseOS. Click on plus. And once you enable the repositories, we can see them over here. Okay. Okay, next one is satellite clients, because this is one repository that we can use to deploy, that we need to deploy some additional tools. I really recommend you to sync this one. You can see over here, satellite client 6 for RHEL 8. Once we are working with RHEL 8, I'm going to enable this one. You notice that for this one, there is no minor version. It is just one single version. That's it. Let's enable this one, satellite client 6 for RHEL 8. And then there you go. Now we have the 3 repositories enabled. They are not synced yet, all right? Okay, and how to sync it? So let's take a look on this step once again. Enable the repositories and sync them. So I put this one here because in the SyncPlan, I can sync those repositories, but I would like to sync this right now. So let me show you 2 ways. One is I can go to sync status, click over there, click on expand all, and then I can see my 3 repositories. So I can definitely select all and click on synchronize now. This is one way to synchronize. This will start this process right now, okay? Another way is using SyncPlan, and SyncPlan is the feature that will sync this content like daily. Can we do both? Yes, definitely we can. Let me click on synchronize now. This will start the synchronization on this page. We can see the process and the information over here. But let's go to SyncPlan. And we can see that I have no entry on SyncPlan. So it is the next one. So for the sake of my SyncPlan, I can click on create SyncPlan. This will be my RHEL repos. I can set the interval to daily, and I like to set something like 3 a.m. in the morning, and that's it. Save. Once I hit save, like there is a SyncPlan, but there is no product. So let's click on product. There is nothing in this list. I can click on add, and then you can see that I have one product. Wally, where is my repository? My BaseOS and app string. You can see the number 3 over here. Like anything RHEL 8, RHEL 9, or RHEL 8 Plus will be underneath Red Hat Enterprise Linux for 8664. If you have like RHEL 7, 6, 5, 4, they will be under Red Hat Enterprise Linux only. And then you can see the number of repositories. Which means if I pick this one and add, my SyncPlan is gonna sync those 3 repositories daily. If I add additional repositories that are under this product, they will be here automatically. All right? You don't have to worry about them because they will be added automatically and they will be syncing daily. Pretty cool one. And let's suppose that you like to start this one from here. You can just select run SyncPlan, and then this will create a task, and this task will be doing something very, very similar to what we did here manually. Like this will start this syncing right now. Or you can just wait for the next cycle, and then you should be able to see that running. Okay, we can see that satellite 6 client is complete, but this one is still running. All right, let's come back to this one. So we were able to enable those repositories and sync them. We're able to create a SyncPlan. We can move it on while this is still syncing. Let me open a new tab. I'm gonna click on LifeCycle environment. And from here, by default, we have just library, okay? As I said before, this is a good practice or best practice. Can I create dev QA in prod lifecycle environment? Yes, so let's do this. And let me bump a little bit the font size just to be better. So click on create environment path. This will be my dev lifecycle environment. Next one, I would like to click on this button, add new environment. This will be my QA and prior to dev. And I would like to add one more, my production. There you go. Now I have my 3 lifecycle environments. Pretty simple. If you have no idea how lifecycle environment works, I have another video on this channel. Feel free to go over there, take a look, and let me know if you have questions. We also have a Discord channel. Feel free to join us in a Discord channel and drop your question. We'll be more than glad to help you. All right. Okay, we need to create a content view and a composite content view. So let's take a look on those tasks. Okay, they are still running. You can see that we have some missing information here based on the old versions, like a bar or progress bar. That stopped working eventually, but we have already a fix for this. The fix is already in place and will be available in the next version. So that progress bar that you see here, just moving, will be back. All right. Let's be sure that we have all the information synced, all the content synced before we move on with the content view. So we can see now that we have the client.6 is enabled. Let me remove the sidebar. Yep. We can see sync complete to all of them, our AppStream, BaseOS, and satellite clients. So next step, let's create a content view. So in order to create a content view, content, lifecycle, content view. There is no content view yet. Create content view. The name of our content view will be CV-RHEL 8. I'll keep content view over here. Create content view. Let's click on show repositories, and then we can see all the repositories. Once we have only the repositories for this specific set, I can definitely click here and this will select all of them. But assuming that you have multiple repositories for RHEL 7, 8, 9, 10 different versions, keep in mind that you need to check the content views that, or the repositories that you like to add in this content view, okay? Once you select the repositories, in this case, AppStream, BaseOS, and Satellite Client, we can click on Add Repositories. And once I have those repositories added, I can definitely click on my Publish New Version. Hey, Wally, are you going to promote this to different lifecycle environments? Nope, just library. So let's click Next, Finish, that's it. So this task is gonna start, and what will happen is this is gonna create this content view with those repositories that we selected. And here we are. We have this content view. If we click on versions, we can see this is the first version. Number of packets, errata, module. We can click on the version 1. We can see all the 3 repositories, all the packets, RPM packets, group, errata. That's okay. So we created our content view. So let's add a, okay. Okay, let's create now our composite content view. So Wally, what is the main difference? Again, I do have another video here doing a very deep and complete explanation about composite content view, but long short story, we can create one composite content view, and instead of adding repositories, I can add content views. So I can set multiple content views inside this composite content view. So let's say the name of my composite content view will be CCV Acme RHEL 8. Keep in mind that you need to pick this one because this is the composite content view. If you keep on this one, this will keep as a content view. So this one. And I also like to set my auto publish, which means anytime that I publish a new version of any content view associated with this composite content view, this composite content view will also be published and will include the latest version. All right. So let's create content view. And here I can see the content views. So which content view I like to add? This one. Wally, why are you adding just one content view? So let's say that tomorrow, next week, I create a different content view, like for third party. I can easily assign this content view to my composite content view, and I have no additional work. I have nothing to do with my customers, with my clients, my content hosts, just on my satellite side or my satellite administration side. So definitely this is a good practice to follow and keep this in mind. All right. This one, I can set one specific version, minor version, or always update to the latest version. Again, if you like to see this in details, you can stop this video, watch the other video that I do have about composite content views. But for the sake of this one and best practice as well, I always update to the latest version. So I'll keep that one, and that's okay. Right now, what I do have is this content view was added to this composite content view, and here you can see that the latest will be in place. So if I go to this content view and publish a new version, version 2, like this composite content view will know, hey, let's pick always the latest version available on that content view. All right, we have this. What I have to do is publish a new version. And right now, yes, I'm gonna set this to my dev, QA, and prod. So next and finish. All right, what's gonna happen now is satellite will get this composite content view. We'll add that content view and we'll publish a new version, and we'll promote this version to all the different lifecycle environments. Okay, so if I like to register any content host on my dev lifecycle environment or QA lifecycle environment or prod lifecycle environment, at this moment they should be able to see the same number of packets, the same versions. They should be very, very similar, or in fact they should be totally similar, very, very similar, because just for the sake of promoting, this should not affect or this should not change anything about the package, the versions, name, nothing. They should be the same at this moment following these steps. Great. Content view published and promoted. So if we click on the content view name, we can see the version. This is the first version. And we can see that this was promoted to library. By default, always will be on library, but also to dev, QA, and prod. So if we come back to our initial steps, create a composite content view. Okay. Next step, let's create one activation key. So content, LifeCycle, activation key. Let me open this in a new tab. Let me close some of the previous ones, like the documentation. We don't need any more. Activation key. As you know, activation key is one way to register your content host against satellite with no additional credential. Or like, I don't have to type my username and password. Just one command and that's it. Pretty simple. So create activation key, AK RHEL. So I like to use a nomenclature here that will help me to understand what is the purpose of this activation key. So for instance, let's just keep activation key or AK-RHEL. I would like to create one activation key for my dev, another one for QA, another one for prod. If I just keep something like this will be hard to figure this out, you know? So definitely we can put something like prod. And then now I know this activation key is for RHEL and this will be prod. And then that specific composite content view. Okay, can I use something like RHEL 8? Because if I have RHEL 7 in this same lifecycle environment, I would like to differentiate between them. So definitely yes, we can do something like this. So AK RHEL 8 prod, that for sure will do this. I will be registering this server. This will be landing on prod lifecycle environment and we'll be consuming content from this composite content view Acme RHEL 8. This is the main point. So let's hit save. In activation key, there are some additional steps. What I like to do is limit to my environment. Then, because if I do not do that, by default, I will be able to see all the repositories on Satellite in that specific lifecycle environment. Eventually, you see a lot of content here that is not available to your client. But as you saw on Satellite 6.16, this is already enabled by default. So that means in this specific lifecycle environment, prod, consuming content from this composite content view, I can confirm that if I register one server and type ENG repo list, this repository, the app stream, will be enabled by default. BaseOS will be enabled by default. The satellite clients will be there, but will not be enabled by default. And I would like it to be. So I can check, click on select actions, and then override to enable. Now, anytime that I register using this activation key, pretty much this is telling me, hey, if you register this machine and type ENG repo list, you should be able to see AppStream, BaseOS, and satellite clients. All right. This is a recommended steps as well. And why is that? Sometimes I get people around the globe doing things like, okay, let me register my satellite, and then I have some additional steps in my bash script or steps that I have to run manually to enable this repository or many other repositories. So no need of this at all. You can just enable this one over here, and there you go. You have this. All right, we created our activation key, and the activation key is created with the basic, the minimum. All right, we are close. Next one, global registration. We can access the hosts on the left menu and register hosts. Global registration is a new method. If you have questions about global registration, there is one video here just explaining global registration. Again, stop this video, go over there, take a look. But basically, I would like to register this machine on Acme, New West. I will not pick my operating system because we have one activation key, which that information. We can see the activation key is already over here. Wally, why my activation key or why your activation key is already selected? If you have just one activation key in your satellite, that will be here by default. If you have multiple activation keys, no, then you have to pick which activation key you would like to use. And then just click over here. You can see the drop down menu and click on that. Insecure, yes, the first connection of your client against satellite will be insecure unless you go over there manually and you deploy the satellite CA certificate. In general, this doesn't happen, so they will be doing insecure for this first contact. All right. From this one, I will not pass through all of them. Again, we have another video. I will keep my regs because this is my remote execution. I will not use insights. I will keep this one unlimited because I would like to use this token for my automation process. I will pick ignore and force. Basically, that's it. So let's hit generate. And then we have this beauty and long line that we can just copy and paste on our clients. That's it. So if you like to use this on multiple clients, keep in mind that this will register your machine using this activation key, and that activation key will set that specific lifecycle environment. Let's pick our activation key. This one will be set in this lifecycle environment, prod, and this composite content view. All right, amazing. That's it. Our global registration is all set to my RHEL 8 on production. Wally, I'd like to create a new global registration for my RHEL, but not on prod, but on dev. So keep in mind that you have to go to your activation key. You have to create a new activation key, come back to this page, pick the information that you wish, click on generate. And then you'll be creating a different command like this, similar to this. And then you can say, okay, this one can be used by my RHEL 8 on dev environment or RHEL 8 on QA environment. All right. All right. Let's move it on to the final step, and this is the test. So if we click on all hosts, I have just satellite server. We can see the version here of my BaseOS is 9.5. Let me do one thing here. I'm gonna disconnect and node01.king.lab. This machine is currently registered on a different satellite. We can see node 1, we have the configuration, subscription manager config will print out some information. We can see satellite.king.lab, satellite.king.lab. This is a different server and this is working fine. Let's suppose that in your company you have like your machines, those machines are registered in a different satellite server. And then you say, okay, in order to register on the new satellite server, I have to clean up, I have to remove some packets, I have to do this, I have to do that. Fear not, you have nothing to do. Believe me, trust me. You can just copy this beauty command, paste over there, and that's it. Like your content host will be taking care of everything, like this long line or the command that will be generated by that one. We'll be doing the cleanup on your client. We'll be removing any old package, any old configuration, and we'll proceed with the registration in the new satellite server. So this is amazing. You can see that I'm registering from satellite.king.lab. This was the previous satellite. The system was unregistered. Subscription manager is already installed, so no need to install an additional package. The system has been registered. This is the new UUID on the new satellite server. The registered system name is node1.king.lab. We are keeping the name of the client. And yeah, some additional stuffs here. Pretty cool. Successfully updated the system facts. And check this out. If we run subscription manager identity, we can see here that this is consuming content from the prod lifecycle environment and on this composite content view. All right. If we return to satellite webUI, we are on all host page. Let's reload this page. And now there you go. We have node 01. Node 01, let me get this menu. Node 01 is consuming content from prod lifecycle environment, composite content view, Acme RHEL 8. And to sum up, let me see if I do have iptref. iptref. I do not. So yum or Wally, stop using yum. Let's use DNF. DNF search iptref. Let me clean up this one. This is telling us, hey, I'm able to connect to satellite and download the metadata properly, which is good. I can see iptref-ng, dnf install iptref-ng. We can see the package, the version, the repository. Yes, let's download the package from satellite and beauty. And now the package got installed properly with no issues at all. Let's do a double check. There we go. Register a content host, check it. So again, this video was to show from scratch all the process, the basic steps since installing the BaseOS. We didn't install the BaseOS in this video just for the sake of the BaseOS. We don't need to show this, but the BaseOS will install and then we pass through all those steps. And at this moment, you can see that you are able to deploy or register your RHEL in your satellite. Hey Wally, I would like to do the same with RHEL 9, RHEL 7, RHEL 6 because I have some servers. Just like come back, do the same process. If you need a different lifecycle environment, you can create different lifecycle environments. For your content views, composite content views, activation keys, same steps. For your repositories, go to the repository page, enable the repositories that you need, and that's it. Like at the end of the day, you should be able to create your global registration, create the long core command that will be able to register your machine against satellite, and then you can play around registering your content host to the new satellite. All right, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. The main idea was to show like satellite 6.16 on top of RHEL 9. This is a great news. The product is very stable, a lot of new features. Pretty soon I'm gonna release some additional videos talking about new features on satellite, but I hope you enjoyed this one. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel, come on, let's subscribe right now. Also, feel free to join us in our Discord channel and drop your question. We will be more than glad to help you. All right? Take care. See you in the next video. Bye.